A puppy worth millions was thrown into a dogfighting arena. It was set to challenge the king of fierce dogs, who was 10 times its size. Everyone present laughed at it, yet the puppy remained surprisingly calm. It even tilted its head to provoke the fierce dog. Enraged, the fierce dog tore off its designer miniskirt worth $30,000 in one bite, revealing a diamond necklace valued at $1 billion. A dog trafficker happened to spot the scene. The puppy instantly sensed the danger. It no longer cared about fighting the fierce dog. It turned around and tried to run away, but the iron gate behind it was tightly shut. The puppy thought its life was about to end. At the critical moment, the iron gate suddenly swung open. It was Dahe, a security guard working at the dogfighting arena, who came to its rescue. The dog trafficker had no intention of giving up. He led his men to chase after them. Fortunately, Dahe was quick and nimble. Clutching the puppy in its mouth, it quickly climbed over the barbed wire fence. They managed to evade the dog trafficker's pursuit. Just when they thought they were safe, Dahe suddenly heard the fierce dog's roar in the distance. It immediately nudged the puppy with its head into a stinking puddle. This way, the fierce dog wouldn't be able to smell its luxury perfume. Thanks to Dahe's quick wit, the puppy escaped danger once again. To repay Dahe for saving its life, the puppy led it to a high-end hotel where it often went with its owner. Worried that Dahe's rough appearance would embarrass it, it told Dahe to wait outside first. Then it walked into the hotel alone. The puppy had forgotten that it no longer had its fancy clothes on. Its body reeked of a foul stench. Soon, the hotel staff chased it out through the back door. Staring at its messy reflection in the mirror, the puppy couldn't bring itself to go outside and face Dahe. Waiting outside for a long time with no sign of the puppy, Dahe peered through the window and saw another dog of the same breed, enjoying a delicious meal all by itself. Heartbroken, Dahe turned and left. Little did it know that it had completely misunderstood the situation. After a long while, the puppy finally plucked up the courage to walk outside, but Dahe was nowhere to be seen. Tears welled up in its eyes at once. It thought Dahe had cruelly abandoned it. Late at night, the puppy wandered the streets as a stray. Its tiny figure looked utterly lonely on the empty road. Once used to living in a luxurious villa, after getting lost by accident, it now had no choice but to curl up and rest inside a tattered cardboard box. It had fallen from a pampered rich pet to a homeless stray dog. It barely made it through the night until the next day. Starving, the puppy spotted a fried dough stick by the roadside. It was just about to step forward and pick it up, when 4 stray dogs walked toward it, intent on stealing its meal. Seeing this, the puppy tried to scare them off. The other dogs actually backed away wisely, thinking the crisis was over. The puppy was just about to relax when it turned around, only to find the fierce dogs raised by the trafficker standing right behind it. It was on the verge of being captured. At the critical moment, Dahe once again grabbed the puppy in its mouth and fled for its life. The fierce dogs chased closely behind them. In their panic, they had no choice but to hide inside a museum. The 2 dogs pretended to be statues and managed to slip away. After escaping, Dahe went off alone to find food, telling the puppy to wait for it right there. The diamond necklace around the puppy's neck caught a rat's attention. The rat lied that it also came from a wealthy family, could help the puppy get back to its owner. It tricked the puppy into giving it the necklace as a reward and took it for itself. When Dahe came back and learned what had happened, it scolded the puppy angrily. Only then did the puppy realize it had been deceived. To keep the puppy out of further danger, Dahe decided to escort it home personally. They arrived at a desolate desert, planning to stop and rest for a while. A sudden sense of danger washed over Dahe once again. He quickly took the little dog and hid inside a cave. Still, they could not escape a sudden attack from wild beasts. A mountain lion appeared right in front of them. Dahe stood fearless in the face of danger. Yet 2 more mountain lions lunged toward him. They bared their fangs and roared endlessly. Seeing this, Dahe hurried told the little dog to run for its life. The puppy crawled under Dahe's body, determined to fight alongside him. Just as they faced mortal peril, a tornado suddenly swept up in the distance, charging straight toward them with great force. When the dust cleared and they looked closely, it turned out to be an army of chihuahuas. They all barked furiously at the mountain lions at the same time. The mountain lions were instantly startled and leaped up, then fled with their tails tucked between their legs. Led by the chihuahua leader, the 2 dogs crossed the dangerous desert and escaped safely. After bidding the leader a brief farewell, they continued their journey. In order to send the puppy home as soon as possible, Dahe took it to a nearby train station. He entrusted the puppy to his friend, and planned to escort it home by train. Tears filled the puppy's eyes as they parted, gazing at Dahe with reluctance. Dahe turned and left without looking back. He knew all too well there was a huge gap between him and the little dog. A stray street dog and a pampered wealthy pet stood separated by an insurmountable divide. It was not until the train gradually drifted away that Dahe could no longer hold back and looked back. He told himself over and over in his heart not to chase after it, choosing to bury their bond deep inside. Yet in the end, he could not resist the urge in his heart, ran in the direction of the train. For deep down, he already regarded the puppy as family and a true friend. When the puppy saw Dahe chasing after the train, it barked excitedly non-stop, as if cheering him on. Realizing the puppy could not bear to leave him either, Dahe was suddenly filled with strength. He seized the perfect moment, leapt into the air, clung to the edge of the train carriage with his front paws, yet half his body hung suspended outside the train, putting him in an extremely dangerous dangerous situation. The puppy rushed over to help at once, clamping its jaws onto Dahei's ear. It nearly got thrown off in the process. As the two dogs teetered on the verge of falling off the train, Dahei unleashed an astonishing burst of hidden strength. Using the forward momentum, he flung the puppies safely back onto the carriage, then pulled himself up to safety. Before they could even catch their breath, they faced a surprise inspection by the train conductors. To keep the puppy from being discovered, Dahei deliberately charged into the passenger carriage. To draw the conductor's attention, he then created chaos, turning the entire carriage upside down. Just as the conductors were about to catch him, Dahei leaped off the train with all his might, crashing heavily onto the ground. It successfully covered for the dog. Yet just as Dahei silently blessed the dog unexpectedly jumped off the train too, landing right on top of Dahei's head. After all the hardships and trials along the way, they had come to see each other as irreplaceable companions in life. The bond forged amid hardship was more precious than anything else. To help the dog find its owner as soon as possible, Dahei took it to the police station for help. By chance, they spotted a lost dog notice on the wall, so they immediately barked loudly to catch the police's attention. When the officers drew near, the dog turned its head, pointed at the photo on the wall, then spun around in place. The two policemen smiled, quickly realizing it was the missing dog. Before the dog could wait for its owner, the fierce dog suddenly charged over again, snatching the leash right out of the police officer's hand, dragged the dog all the way to the dog traffickers. The traffickers stroked the fierce dog's head excitedly, only to look down and find the diamond necklace around the dog's neck was gone. He grabbed the dog by the neck in a fit of rage. Then he thought to himself, the dog's owner was extremely wealthy, and he could still demand a ransom using the dog. This scene happened to be witnessed by a stray chihuahua passing by. Seeing its fellow dog in danger, Little Yellow hurried to give chase. Just as the dog was about to be taken away, Little Yellow, who had been lying in ambush inside the vehicle, suddenly sprang out, clamping its jaws tightly onto one of the traffickers' men's nose. The man screamed in pain non-stop, then stumbled and fell to the ground. Before the two dogs could catch their breath, the dog trafficker and the fierce dog chased after them. They quickly hid inside an abandoned building. To protect its companion, Little Yellow kept circling and distracting the fierce dog. In the end, due to the huge difference in strength, it was cornered by the fierce dog. Just then, the dog suddenly let out an astonishing roar. In an instant, the entire abandoned building began to shake violently. Countless pieces of rubble mixed with dust kept falling from the roof. Yet the roar alone was not enough to make the fierce dog back down. It lunged toward them once more. Just as the two dogs were about to become the fierce dog's prey, Dahei suddenly rushed out from behind, only to be thrown aside by the fierce dog. Seeing Dahei in danger, the dog charged forward without hesitation, biting the fierce dog's neck firmly. Due to the huge size difference, it was brutally flung against the stone wall by the fierce dog. At this moment, Dahei finally snapped, pinning the fierce dog to the ground in a frantic rage. The fierce dog was finally subdued. The dog lay quietly on the ground. Little Yellow walked over to the dog sorrowfully. Through all the hardships they had endured together, Little Yellow realized it had already grown fond of the dog. Tears streamed down as it kept calling out to its goddess, pouring out its final confession to the dog.
Come back to Beverly Hills. I will tend your garden forever.
Don't stop now. It's just getting good.
Ay, Chihuahua!
Poppy, that was beautiful.
Before long, the police arrived with the dog's owner. The dog was finally reunited with its owner. In the end, the dog traffickers received their due punishment. Dahei's wit and bravery earned the police chief's admiration. It officially became an outstanding police dog. As they parted, the dog looked at Dahei with reluctance, filled mostly with gratitude for risking its life to accompany it all the way. It would forever cherish this bond in its heart. Though the dog had lost its necklace, looking back on all they had been through, it no longer cared about its own value. For friendship is far more precious than any material wealth. Those moments of adventure and companionship together, the brightest treasures in life.